Was Make It So? Was that part of the audition? Was that in that first read that you had to do?
I can't think that it was. I read a couple of scenes from Encounter at Farpoint, the pilot episode, and I think one of them was a big scene with Q, with that character, with John Delance's character. And then actually what happened after that was that I was to discover a long time afterward, well, a few days afterwards, that before I had driven off the lot from the place they'd allowed me to park, actually, they did let me on the lot. They had already called my agent and said, "We want Patrick." My agent, who was not in his office yet because it was still early, called me, this was pre-cell phones, and found that I wasn't at home either. And then he spent about 3 hours trying to find me, because I had a philosophy about auditions, which was, when the audition is over, forget it, erase it, because the chances are you will not be the one chosen. So you simply torture yourself if you worry about, did I get it, did I get it? So I forgot about it, and I went to a coffee shop I knew down Melrose Avenue, and I went past a place where they sold the English papers, and I bought a pile of English newspapers, and I took them to this coffee shop, and I sat there for a couple of hours reading the newspapers, while my agent was frantically trying to find me. And here's what's some of you will have heard this story before, and I'm sorry if you have, and it's tiresome, but he knew that I was staying in the home of an English professor at UCLA. So he called the English department at UCLA. I mean, you know, this is a Hollywood agent, enterprising people. And, there, go on. And he spoke to one of the secretaries in the English department and said, "I am trying to reach Patrick Stewart." And she said, "There's nobody of that name works here." And he said, "No, but there is somebody called David Rhodes who works there, and Professor Rhodes is Patrick's landlord this week, and if you could get him, I need to speak with him." So they went along to, no, they said, "We need to know the reason for your call." And my agent said, "Just tell Professor Rhodes that Patrick has got the job. That's all." They did. They took a Post-it note with that written on into David Rhodes' classroom, showed him the Post-it note. He said to the undergraduates, just, you know, work amongst yourselves, read, and he was out of the door. And he talked to my agent and said, "Patrick went for an audition at Paramount this morning." And the agent said, "Yes, I know he did." And I'm trying to find him. And David Rhodes said, I have no idea where he is. And then he remembered that I had said the previous evening, I am going to meet another English professor from UCSB for lunch. And David, who knew this professor, knew that he always stayed in the same hotel in Westwood. So I am driving to Westwood to have lunch with my friend, and I go to this small hotel he was staying in. They ring up the desk, and he says, "Yes, come on up, Patrick." I go to his room, knock on the door. As he lets me in, his phone rings. I swear to you, this is not, you know, actors' tall tales. The phone was ringing by his bed. He went in and he picked it up and he said, "Hello? It's for you," he said.